We're back here on the program, The Platform, and we are having a conversation about the resources of our country.
Gentlemen and lady, when governments negotiate these leases, these kinds of leases, with commodities that are controlled by the global market, right? Governments have to be cognizant of escalation in prices, right? And the deflation of prices. Let me give you an example. We all can remember when the price of oil was $100 a barrel. What's the price of oil now?
Down at
$20?
23?
Yeah.
20, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that has done to the economies of Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, right? Which was living on this inflated value, right? And the situation is going to get worse because to maintain that inflated value they have to pump more oil and sell more oil at a lower price.
I thought you was going to use the bauxite example of Jamaica. Well, that's a better example.
It's the same bauxite and Jamaica and Guyana.
And why Jamaica is not wealthy?
Yeah, because of bauxite.
Because of bauxite.
Right.
They still get bauxite.
See, you can't go by what after processing what the value is.
But see, there's another thing though. Is that
Sorry,
no, you go ahead.
I don't understand why you want to bring the analogy with the Jamaican bauxite when you know and I know that there was a direct political interference with the economy of Jamaica. That has far more to do with the political direction Jamaica was seeking to go than the bauxite.
Yeah, but
and that's a conversation.
You got a point.
No, but there were other markets for bauxite.
Yeah, but
and the Jamaicans were not demanding hundreds of dollars for a ton of bauxite.
It wasn't a question of making
the bauxite is the raw material, as the sand is the raw material.
Interference.
Yeah, but anyway,
and I think Brother Eneas would agree with that.
I know
we are not talking about a political interference. We're talking about a political situation in the Bahamas where a dominant class felt in the 60s that they had proprietary rights over the assets of the Bahamian natural resources. And they used that political influence to create relationships that are in place today and are not in the best interest of the Bahamian people. And all we are basically saying is that these relationships have created some structural, systemic, and fundamental issues in our economy, which creates the situation that we now face, where we have a burgeoning population, we have underdevelopment, we have an economy that is not growing in pace to keep pace with the explosion of our population. And so when you get these kinds of structural imbalances, you're bound to have what we have in our society today. And we're saying part of the problem is fixing these issues.
That's part of it, yeah.
And that's the point we're making.
But we have to be realistic. But we got to be realistic.
We are not saying we don't want to be realistic.
We got to be realistic.
What we are saying
for some of the prices you're quoting for the value of that
people need to know that these.
But you are telling the Bahamian people, that they can get $400 a ton.
That's on world market prices. That's world market. No, that's world market prices.
But it's after the refinement.
Allow me to make this point on the price. The agricultural industry wishes to not for our aragonite to be what they call tampered with because it is 97% pure. 97% pure. In fact, our aragonite is sought after not only in America, Europe, worldwide, because of the level of purity.
But Brother Jones admitted to you that he's a journalist. He's not a scientist. He's not a scientist. He made that point very clear. And so the niceties of how the aragonite is broken down and how it is used, you know that from the base chemicals, you get a variety of other products. And what is happening with our aragonite is that the multitude of services and opportunities that this creates could far improve the level of our development. And our society should be benefiting from some of that surplus. All we are basically saying is that no society developing its full potential, puts its natural resources beyond the reach of its citizenry. And if you look at Dubai, which was a fishing village just like us, same population demographics, you look at Norway, you look at Sweden, they have used their natural resources to enhance the life of their people.
Okay, let's look at Dubai.
And let's look at Dubai.
Where's the refining done?
It doesn't matter where it's the
But it does matter.
owns the oil.
No, but it does matter where the refining is done.
The refining is done outside of Dubai, but the ownership of the oil is controlled by the
Yeah, but who
Dubaians.
sets the price of the...
They're part of the
All right,
cartel. They're part of the cartel.
let's move to salt.
I was waiting for us to move to salt, yes.
Let's move to salt.
Yes,
Because I've been hearing you all talk about salt.
yes.
And diamond salt in Long Island went out of business.
Bust, belly up.
Belly up. We have Morton salt. And
They go
Morton,
from 19
and
from
Morton,
1896.
Morton created a company town in Inagua, where everybody in Inagua working for Morton salt. What is your expectation from salt?
Well, it's interesting
That
you
is,
mention that.
what is your expectation from salt out of
Erickson family
Inagua?
started the salt mining in Inagua in the 1890s. And do you know that from then to now, the first union company is formed in Inagua. And until this day, the union in Inagua has not had a contract signed in all of those years. Not until this day. In fact, I was with Glenn Bannister just a week ago.
Mr. Campbell,
But the point is,
Mr. Campbell, what is your
We'll get to the point.
expectation
the
from salt?
expectation is that the oil, the salt is now being serviced as a trade-off for the employment in Inagua. And we're saying that the salt is transported to Iowa, is also transported to Nova Scotia, and is transshipped to Germany. Germany is using our salt, and they're breaking down the salt compound, taking out the nitrates, taking out the chlorides. They're using it in their petrochemical industries, and they are using it to make ammunition, which are selling to the third world. Salt on the world market, you can go and Google it, is sold at $2 per pound.
Per pound.
That means $4,000 per ton.
Per ton.
Now, let me ask you the question, Mr. Jones. Should the Bahamian people give all of our salt resources away, which is naturally produced because of the sun and salt water, for the employment of just one island, when we have 17 other islands to be developed? And a better economic arrangement would certainly accrue to the Bahamian people far more than the zero that we are now getting.
Mr. Gentleman and lady.
No, I want to.
Wait, I want to make this point. Let me make this point. Gentleman, lady, right? Do you know that the inaugural operation is a dinosaur?
I'm listening.
Right? Do you know that there are operations in Chile where salt is mined at cheaper cost than what they are in Inagua? You realize that? And they're raised and they're building bigger ships, right? Which goes through the Panama Canal to get to Europe.
And
right?
Do you know?
And so that market, they could close that market right now, that supply, and it makes no difference to the global supply of salt.
The Chilean saltpeter mines were going for the last
you see?
60 years.
Right?
What does that got to do with the
I am telling you what the trends are in the salt market.
Notwithstanding the trend, this has been going on from 1896.
All right.
This is 2015.
But you think salt?
They ain't got no monopoly on salt.
Salt is coming from various areas of the Bahamas, of the world. Right?
We don't have to get into
And people call this a little Mickey Mouse operation in Inagua, you know. Because the Chilean operation is bigger than in Inagua. Much bigger. And the salt coming out of Chile is less expensive than Inagua. Because the cost of producing it is far cheaper than it is in Inagua. But you want more money from your Inagua salt.
No, you know and I know that what is the GDP in
Chile?
In Chile. Chile has gone through.
It's a big country.
What is the GDP?
I don't know, man.
What
Some
is
billion, I don't know.
the wage level in Chile? What is the inflation rate?
Yeah, that's different. But people want the source.
You make these statements to go on television that the Chilean
there's a high cost market.
Could overcome.
There's a high cost market.
The point is, Meguana has been going from 1896.
In Agua.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and it's still going.
Right.
And the Chilean production is not affecting the production in the Bahamas. Do you know why? Because the quality in
the salt is better.
100%.
Oh, it's better.
That is what the chemical.
Better salt.
That is what the chemical,
better salt in Agua than Chile.
That is what the chemical analysis says.
Better salt in Agua than Chile. You believe?
We can talk
He's a chemist, you know.
Huh?
He's a chemist.
I was taught some chemistry by a very good.
He's a chemist.
Fine, but
if we can talk, let's talk. Let's talk.
No, but you talk about market and supply and supplies.
The point is, the Bahamas will still have a market share, and our concern is not with what is happening in Chile.
No, but the point is, what is the expectation for your salt in Anagua? You are saying, oh, we can get far more money for the salt in Anagua.
In fact, what we are saying is we can get some money.
But Jones is saying, don't try and change.
How much do we get now?
Jones is saying, being realistic.
That's
what I've been saying all day.
Let's be realistic and do nothing.
No. Be realistic and understand the market trends.
I have here the report from Tenneco, internal documents, 86, and it tells me there's no oil in the Bahamas. Yet the government of the Bahamas just finished doing the petroleum legislation, and he says there's no oil in the Bahamas.
No. There might be oil in the Bahamas, but we're talking about the amount of
commercial
oil,
quantity.
whether it is of a commercial quality.
That's a difference.
17 billion barrels. That's their estimation. 1986.
Estimation. They found the oil?
Oh yes. In fact, this year
they found this 17 billion barrels
in 7 wells.
Where?
In fact, not only that.
Where?
This is actually.
Where they found this oil?
Come on, this is a governmental report.
This is breaking news.
This is a governmental report.
News. 17 billion barrels of oil in the Bahamas. Breaking news.
Tenneco report.
Where is it?
Number of wells done. 7 exploratory wells were dug. Name of the wells: Monterey, Sand Shark, Bluefin, Lionfish, Blue Marlin, Grouper, and Hammerhead.
The findings were. One name Eneas too, you know.
The findings were. The findings were. Monterey, the estimate, 1.44 billion barrels. Sand Shark estimate, 1.386 billion barrels. Bluefin estimate, 3.449 billion barrels. Lionfish estimate, 0.94 billion barrels. Grouper estimate 6.492 billion barrels. Hammerhead estimate 1.007 billion barrels. Amount of barrels estimate 17.063 billion barrels. Now, there was a seismic testing that was done by BPC. They put seismic testing on it, which is the most up-to-date diagnostic when it comes to oil. 3 traps or folds were identified. These traps here, this is actually from the PPC report.
Yeah.
These are the folds, 3 folds. These traps rivaled those of the Middle East in size.
Gentlemen, all I can tell you, based on what they're saying now, we have no more national debt. All right?
We've been saying that all along.
Salt, oil, and aragonite.
Yes.
We're straight.
Yeah. And that's what we say. That's a possibility.
We're giving each behaving household $100,000.
Very good, very good. Boy, Godfrey, we're rich.
You got to vote for them.
we vote for y'all.
Yeah.
All right? BNCP.
For businesses.
BNCP, that's the party to go with. Because we have oil, we have aragonite, we have salt, and we have plenty of money.
Agreed.
You'll have to come back again.
Oh, yes, we would.
To give us all this good news.
Yes.
And you always said nothing all day?
No.
You just listened?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I allowed you gentlemen to speak.
Very good.
Because from my researches, I found out that the sand is very valuable, the best in the world, 97 to 99% are found online, and plus it's needed worldwide. and is being used worldwide. And we have replenishable sand in the Bahamas, every island, rock, and key, in our waters. And therefore, my point of view is the sand alone is sufficient to carry our nation forward, to pay all our debt, and to bring our Bahamian people lifestyle living up to a high standard.
You had the final word. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you. Thank you, Godfrey.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and good evening, everyone.
See you.